Hello guys, you're welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how I cut and sew this twist top you are watching on the screen right now. I'll be showing you in details of how I cut and sew it, so I want you to stay back and watch this tutorial in details. So the first thing I need for this tutorial is my pattern paper, and here is my pattern paper and my ruler as well. I'll need my ruler for this tutorial. At the same time, I'll need my tape rule, my scissors, and my marker for this tutorial. So the first thing I'm going to do is to mark out my starting point. So this place that I mark is just my starting point. This is where I'm going to start all my measurements. That's why I just mark that out. That's where I'm going to start all my measurements. So the length I'm working with is the length of 23 plus 1 inches for my sewing allowance. That's the first thing I'm going to do, the length measurement of the top that I'm working with. Now to the half length, I'll be using the half length I'm working with is the half length of, but for this tutorial I don't need the half length. For the twist top that we are doing, I need the under bust. So the under bust I'm working with is the under bust of 13 and the upper bust of 8. So I'm going to rule that out now. Upper bust of 8, under bust of 13. I don't need half length for this tutorial. So let me rule this out. Let me rule it out. And the full length. This is my under bust. The under bust I'm working with. And this is the full length. So those are the three things I'm going to rule out today: the under bust, the upper bust, and the full length. So let me write it out. That is the chest line, which is the upper bust, the chest line, the under bust, and the full length of the top. So these are the three lines that I'm going to mark out. Just mark this out. After marking this out, the next thing you need to do is to take your shoulder measurement. For this shoulder, this person's shoulder is 15. Our shoulder is 15. 15 divided by 2 will give us 7.5 plus our half-inch sewing allowance, because we are going to join the sleeve. We are going to be joining it, so you need the half-inch for your joining. So anything I measure here, I'll measure it here as well, which is my 8. I'm going to measure the 8. So the 8 that I need to measure here, it falls at the chest line. It falls out at the chest line. So the next thing I'm going to do is to connect this line together. I'm going to connect these two lines together. Can you see that? After doing that, the next thing you need to do is to get your midpoint, the midpoint of your armhole, which is, we have 8. 8 divided by 2 will give us 4. So you are going to mark this out. So I just mark that out. That is the half of my this thing. Then I'm going to mark half inches right here. Can you see? This is half inches. And you can use your free hand to do your cuff, and you can decide to use your armhole cuff to do that, to do the justice to that. So I'm going to connect it as shown. Can you see that? So that is about that. That is for the armhole of a thing. The next thing I need to do now is to take out my bust measurements. Our bust is 36. 36 divided by 4 will give us 9. So I'm going to mark that. Plus 2 inch sewing allowance. Initially, you can plus 1.5 inch sewing allowance. You can decide to use 1 inch sewing allowance, because since you are not taking any darts, you are not taking anything. You can decide to use 1 inch, but I decided to use 1.5 for my own. So for the waistline, I added the person waist measurement, then plus my 1.5 inches. Then for the down part, I use 11 11 for the down part. So I'm going to connect the 3 lines together now. I'll connect it together. So I'm going to connect the line together. So I'm going to like connect it. Let me connect here as well to the chest line. So I'm going to connect it. After connecting it as shown, the next thing I'm going to do is to then I'll come to the down part. I'll come to this down part. I'll measure 2 inches from this down because I don't want the down part to be straight. I want it to be a little bit curved. So I'll come to this down part. I'll measure 2. Yes, I'll measure 2 inches from that down part. I'll measure it to here. Then I'm going to like just to connect it like this. So that to not be, I don't want the down part to be straight. I want it to be curved like this. Then the next thing I'm going to do now is to take my, then you are going to determine how much you want to use for your neckline. So I'll be using 3.5. So from the 3.5 that I mark out, that's where I'm going to do my shoulder slope. So let me do that. Let me do the shoulder slope of it. This is it. Can you see that? So the next thing I'm going to do now is to cut it out. Let me cut it out. After cutting it out, then we move to the next procedure. We move to the next step. So this is it after cutting it out. This is what we have. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut this out from the under bust. But before that, I want to like, let me mark out the sewing, the way I'm going to sew exactly. Let me mark it out. This is where I want to sew exactly. And this is the sewing allowance that we added earlier. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to cut it out at the waistline. I'm going to cut it so that I'll be able to twist the half length, you know, because of the twist that we want to do. So I will need to cut it out now. Let me cut it out. So this is it after cutting it out. This one, we will need this. We will definitely need this. So I'm going to put this aside. Let's work with this one first. So this one, I'm going to open it. This is it after opening it. Now, the next thing you are going to do now is to determine how much you, how much do you want to open your neckline? Is it by 5? Is it by 4? Is it, as I mean the length, not the width? We already determined that we're going to be using 3.5 for the wideness. I mean the length now. This is where we measure the other time. So you are going to but for this one I want it to be a little bit open. So that's why I use 6.5. That's why I'm going to be using 6.5. This is it. So I'm going to short that. This is my 6.5. Can you see that? So I'm going to connect it now. Just to watch this place carefully, so that by the time you want to try the style, it will come out so fine. You understand? So just connect it as shown. Can you see? Then connect it to the down part. I will suggest you measure this place so that you know how much you want to connect it. So I measure out 1 inches from here. Just 1 inches. Then I'm going to connect it to that 1 inches. Can you see? Can you see? Then this place, let it you shouldn't be through this thing. Yes. So after doing it like this, the next thing we're going to do, this place, we don't need it. You're going to throw this away. You're going to throw it out. Then I'm going to cut it out now. I'm going to cut it out. After cutting it out, I'll throw this one. I don't need it. I'll throw it away. Then this particular one on the table now, we are going to cut it 2 pieces. We are going to be cutting 2 pieces of this. 2 pieces. You understand? We are going to fold our fabric into 2. Then we are going to cut it. Then we are going to cut the down part, just 1 piece. So that is that about that. The next thing we're going to do now is to cut it out on the fabric. And the fabric I'm using for this tutorial is a Duchess material. This is a Duchess material. I already used the fabric before, so I just want to use the remaining one to make this tutorial. So this is it. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to start cutting all the paper on this fabric now. So let's start cutting it one after the other. I'm going to take my zip allowance, my shoulder measurements, and everything one after the other. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to cut it out. I already shook out my waist measurement, my armhole, my shoulder slope, the neck of the back. I use 3.5 by 1 inches. That is what I use for the neck of the back. That is the back neckline. Then I'm going to cut it out. And this is it after cutting it out. This is what we have. So the next thing, what I'm going to do, I'm going to be using the Emmy gum. I'm going to use Emmy gum to gum all the neckline. I'll use Emmy gum to gum all the neckline. Same with the front neckline. I'm going to use Emmy gum to do it as well. So now the next thing I want to do now is to cut out the sleeve. I'm going to cut the sleeve out now. So I'm done cutting the sleeve out. So like I said earlier that I'm going to be using Emmy gum. This is Emmy gum right here right now. So I'm going to use it. I'm going to place it as shown, then fold the fabric on it. So this is what I'm going to do now. After doing it, I'll bring it back and show you guys what I have. So let me take it and come back to show you guys after I already gum it. And this is it after I already gum it. I already gum everywhere that needs to be gum. That is all the place that I need to gum. I already do that. This is what I have. Can you see? This is what you're going to. You can decide to use bias to turn the neckline, but I think I prefer this because this is very neat. Anytime you use this thing, it makes your work very neat. So that is that about that. The next thing I'm going to do now is to do the front twist. How do you do the front twist? This is where the work is. This is what you want to wash from the beginning of this video. This is what you want to wash. So I want you to pay very close attention to this place. Now you can take any one of the two. Doesn't mean that one side this is the side you should take. No, you can take any one of the two piece, the front piece. After taking the one you want to take, the next thing you're going to do is to take your measurement. Measure half of an inch. This is it, half. Because you have anything you are sewing with, it's not compulsory that it must be half of an inch. If you are the type that sew with quarter of an inch, you are free to do that. But I always sew with half of an inch. So just measure your half of an inch right here. After you measure it like this, I'm doing it like this because of the tutorial. Initially, I'll just measure it on the machine. But because this is tutorial, you know, I need to explain this place carefully so that you understand. Then from this edge right here, measure half inch. Can you see? Measure half inch. That is where you are going to stop your stitching. You are not going to stop to that edge. Leave half of an inch at that side. I hope you are getting it. Leave half of an inch. So by the time I take it now for sewing, I will also weave everything. I'm going to weave all the inside by the time I take it for sewing now. So what we are going to do is that after sewing it finished, we are going to put this one inside. So I'll be showing you that by the time I sew that place finish. I'll be showing you how you are going to go about it. I hope you understand. So this is that about that anyway. So this is the sleeve. This is the sleeve we cut earlier. I already do the same. I did the same for the sleeve as well. I use my hemi gum to gum the edge, and this is what I have. Can you see that? Isn't it lovely? You can try this hemi gum of a thing and you're going to love the outcome. Just place your hemi gum, place your fabric on it, and do it to your desire. I'm coming back to show you what I have. So this is it. I already weave everything. I took it for weaving, so I already weave everything. So this is it. I already stitch it, and at the same time I already weave it as well. So I leave half of an inch, like I said earlier. You're going to leave half of an inch at this edge. You're going to leave your half of an inch. Then I'm going to take the second one. Let me take the second piece right now. So this second piece now, I'm going to put it inside. I'm going to put it inside this exact place. But before I put it inside, let me explain this to you. Fold the second one as well. Fold it into two and just notch here. Just notch it, little notch here, so that by the time you are putting it inside, you will know. Let me put it inside and explain this place very carefully. The reason why for that notch, I will explain to you the reason why you have to notch. If you don't want to notch, you can use your chalk to just note that place. So by the time you pull it inside, so that you will know where you are going to stop your pulling. I hope you understand. So that you'll be able to know where you're going to stop your pulling. Can you see? So the next thing you're going to do now is to try as much as possible to make sure that this, yes, pull it inside, and then this is where we notched the other time, right? Try as much as possible to hold it very firm. Can you see? Hold it very firm. Hold it very, very well. Yes, after doing it like that, then we are going to sew it. And we're going to sew it as shown. Just place your machine very close to that place that you notch and just stitch it straight down. Yes, make sure that that place is the same. So let me stitch it and bring it back to you, so you guys to see. And this is what I have after sewing it together. Can you see that? Can you see what we have? It's very, very simple and easy to make. This is what you're going to have after joining it together. Now what I'm looking for now is the down parts. You know, when we cut it earlier, we cut the down parts. So I want to show you guys how to fix this down part with it now. Now first thing I'm going to do, this down part, I'm going to notch the middle. Yes, I'm going to notch the middle of this down part as well. You have to notch the middle so that you will know, so that by the time you want to put it, the middle of this down part with the middle of this half length as well, the two middle will be equal, to collide together. I hope you understand. So you need your pin for this, because first thing you need to do, you need to pin it. You need to pin the two together. So this is what we have. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to start pinning it together. So I'm going to start the pinning from the middle. Yes, I'll start the pinning from the middle. I'll pin it. This is what you are going to have after sewing it. But maybe because I pin it, it looks somehow. But don't worry, by the time I sew it finished now, by the time you sew it and iron it, it will give you what you want. So after I'm done joining the down part, I'll fix the back as well. I'll join the shoulder, and I'm going to join the body. Then I'm going to come back and show you guys what I have after doing it like that. And this is it after I already joined the shoulder, and at the same time I already joined the body. I'm going to weave the shoulder. I'm going to weave the shoulder slope that I joined together. And this is everything after joining it. There is no, I don't have the color of the zip with me right now for this tutorial. So after ironing it, I'm going to test it and use pin to pin the back. I'm going to use pin to pin the back just for this tutorial. After, I'm going to fix zip on it later. So this is the sleeve, and the sleeve I'm going to fix it on the fabric. And after doing that, I'm done. After joining it, this is what I have. This is what I have right here, right now. This is the sleeve. After joining the sleeve, this is what I have. This is the body. Initially I supposed to turn my back, but because I use pin to pin the back, that's why I'm not turning my back. So if today is the first time of watching my YouTube channel, thanks for watching this channel. And if you are a return subscriber, God bless you for joining this channel back. If today is the first time, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching this channel. God bless you. Bye. And do have a nice and lovely day.